meeting to order at 5 o'clock. Roll call, please.
Greg Alexander. Here. Mike Baber. Chris Brune. Adam Carson. Lindsay Keisman. Here. Ray Lapinus. Here. Amy Raff. Here. Carolyn Schofield. Here. Connie Machini.
Here. Public comment? No public comment, then we'll go into old business. Review of fund balance and revised budget. Leo, do you want to go over that, please? And put it on the board.
I think Melanie was going to review.
Okay, Melanie?
Okay, so the numbers on the screen, once they're up, it's not, you didn't get the full board packet? It's an attachment. Well, everybody's got it in front of them, right? So let me go ahead and start talking. So we start with our ending fund balance at 2023, which is $7,098,000. Then I'm estimating at 9/30 that we're going to spend $535,692 of fund balance. That, of course, is not final yet. That won't be final until probably February. And then we're putting in estimated sales tax revenue for 5 months. And I'm using the July number. So, I mean, I'm just trying to get a rough number. That's hopefully going to be higher. But at a minimum, hopefully we'll get $4,025,000. So I'm estimating for our ending fund balance at 11/30/24 to be $10,588,344. Then you back out the 5 months reserves. That leaves us available fund balance at 25 as $5.4 million. I'm proposing that we increase fund balance being used in 25 from 1 million to 1.9 million. We can look at that later in the budget, and you guys, have the option to change that if you don't agree with that, which leaves us with a remaining fund balance of $3,506,747. Like I said, everything is an estimate, but that's kind of where we're at right now. As far as the sales tax revenue, I was originally concerned we wouldn't get the 5 months, because typically in government accounting, you only can claim revenue for receive 60 months after the year end. But I spoke with Carrie at county, and the county takes a special process with state revenue, since there is a delay, and extends that out to the extra 30 days to get that final payment in for the year. So did anybody have any questions? So we'll keep updating this and, let you guys know where we're at when we get more final numbers.
Can I ask, where's the property tax in this? I couldn't see that.
You won't see that.
Okay,
Basically, we take all of our revenue and all of our expenses for the year and add it to what we had the year before.
okay,
And it's just kind of a rolling number. It's not, it's not like a expense report where you see the revenue, the expenses. So basically that negative 535 is taken from taking our revenue this year minusing our expenses.
okay. Does anyone have any questions? Pardon? Yeah, that page. No, okay. Okay, then the revised budget. Oh.
So do you want me to speak on anything in particular, or just go over what I was recommending?
Yeah, go over, the
Okay.
revised budget.
I think, Melanie was going to go over it, but just to give an overview for everyone, obviously the board knows that we had to pivot and recommend flat funding to the allocations that we did with the, due to the county administration sales projections being incorrect by 2 to 3 million. Therefore, we couldn't move forward in good faith with our original budget as well, and that's why we're here today. Our original budget was over $14 million. So again, in order for us to be responsible in continuing to pay our providers at the current rate, again, we were in a crisis before this time. But so that we don't have to cut our providers in the future, we calculated that we could stay on this trajectory of about a $12 million budget for the next 2 to 3 years before we'd actually have to make cuts. So again, we're in a crisis already. We calculated that it won't be until 2028 that we're caught up to the same level of property tax that we're at today. So hopefully, with the Mental Health Board using its reserves for the rest of our budget for this coming year, the next few years, until we can get a permanent solution achieved. But, so that's why, we're here and just looking at this budget overall. So
Okay,
I'll
Melanie?
pass it to Melanie.
Okay, I'm actually, Eric, can you put up the decision memo after this? Each box in green has been changed, but you can't see what it was before. So if we go to the decision memo, it kind of summarizes specifically what was adjusted. So obviously, to start out, we're going to be reducing sales tax revenue from 12.5 million to 10 million. I'm proposing we increase fund balance utilization from 1 million to 1.9 million. Then the next group of expenses that we're reducing are some administrative expenses that we had some flexibility in. We can make cuts there. Contractual services we're reducing by 250,000 or 2,500. Staff training by 7,500. Subscriptions by 1,500 or 1,500. Office equipment by 500. Repairs and maintenance by 30,000. Mileage by 1,500. Meeting expense by 6,000. We're proposing to eliminate the bathroom renovation project and reduce that 300,000. And that's pretty much what we're proposing for administrative expenses. The next changes would be through 2510 accounts, which are client service funds that we manage, the things we do like network marketing, staff training, that don't affect the direct allocations to the providers, so we're going to try to reduce some of those expenses. Network marketing, we're reducing by 25,000. Network training by 10,000. Computer program maintenance for the network by 1,000. And then client services are managed by MHB, which are things like the physician loans and ICAs, we're going to reduce by 54,000. So that brings us down to the big picture, which by making these changes, we can take direct client funding. We were originally budgeting 11,644,000. I'm proposing we're using 10,484,000. And there will be some movements between what we're actually contracting with the providers and other supports that we give to the providers, like clients or, God, I have to look back at that, but there's different accounts where we're going to be moving money to kind of move more money into the client services. But where the proposed is now, it covers all the allocations they made on 1022 with maybe 15,000 extra, and then we're also still leaving in 300,000 of mid-year allocations. So there is about $315,000 of money that can still be allocated with this budget. The next section is looking at the opioid funds. So I made a few changes. One, I had not had the opioid funds were guaranteed to be getting in there in the original budget, so I've added that in. It's $137,800. I bumped down the interest income a little bit, and then I upped fund balance utilization by 58,000, so that we can come up with 859,900, which is what you, as a board, decided to allocate of opioid funds at the 1022 meeting. So that pretty much sums up the changes we're planning on making. if you wanted to look at anything in specific on the budget itself, we can, but that's the overview.
Are there any questions on this that she's done so far?
Yeah, Melanie and I really, went through the budget and tried to make as many of the adjustments that we felt, we could do in this next year so that, we could be responsible with the dollars and trying to maintain it at the same budget level as we had in fiscal year '24.
Member in the queue.
Did a great job.
We have a member in the queue for a question.
Okay, Greg?
Yeah, thanks for the nice work here. Is there specific training you're foregoing and specific events or meetings that you're foregoing that we had planned? The two line items, meeting expense and staff training. We cut this training in half, I think, and the meetings in half. So I was just curious if there were some specific things we were planning to do that we won't be able to do.
Well, I think we're still planning on the EMDR training. That was one of the biggest expenses. I still think we still have that in the budget. But we were looking at some other trainings, so yes, we did. Mhm.
That's the training. That was the training. What about the meetings? Was there like the conference or something that were? I'm not questioning the decision. I'm just trying to
Right.
understand what.
Well, I think we did cut the budget for the NACON.
Okay.
It was cut a little, but there's still room for board members to go.
Okay.
Ray?
Same kind of question with regard to the repair and maintenance for building and grounds.
Yeah.
Is there anything specific that's a big ticket
It
item?
was huge. Yeah, the huge ticket item was the repairs. They were estimated about $350,000 for making the bathrooms downstairs or on this first floor in the CRC area ADA compliant. So that was a huge expense that we cut or we postponed foregoing for this year.
And as far as the 30,000 that's being reduced, is there anything specific to that?
30,000 under which area?
Right there, from 80,000 to,
So I can talk on that. We had originally gone through a laundry list of things we knew needed to be maintained, such as the walls and so forth, and we budgeted as expecting to have to replace or repair walls. But we've been able this year to have contractors come out and evaluate it, and they're in great shape, and, we're doing maintenance forward. So it's not going to be, we planned for repairs we thought we needed, that right now we don't need. If something does come up, we'll have to, account for it, but we feel comfortable reducing it by that amount. It still leaves us a little more than last year, but, some of the things we thought, now that we've researched them, they're not going to be necessary.
all right, thank you.
Carolyn?
Thanks, and I appreciate this, going back and really kind of giving a reality check, I guess, on it. So that's great job on that. I had kind of along the lines of the same question with the bathroom project. Is there any way to phase it? I was just thinking, or if we did it like, towards the end of the year and did part in this year, part in next year. I mean, it's something really that's unavoidable, and I think we've talked about possibly using some of that. I don't know if there's a way we can plan and kind of phase
Yeah,
it in.
and we talked about it. I can let our building manager talk more about it if she wishes, but we've talked about it, and it'd be difficult to phase, I think, at this point. And we could look at getting those bids to phase it out, but it'd be really difficult because we don't know once they start the project, because there's 4 bathrooms that we're speaking of and how they're interrelated as far as the plumbing and all of those components too when we're talking about remodeling. So I think it may be difficult to phase in that way.
or maybe kind of, can we reevaluate mid-year and maybe put some of it towards the end of the year and then the next half of it, plan it where it starts in October or November and carries into the next year's budget somehow?
Yeah, that's a good idea. I mean, I think the phasing would be difficult because if you think we have like 2 long bowling alleys that are going to now cut into 4 sections, and like Leo's saying, we don't know how that water is going to cross over between the 4 sections. It'd be great if we could ideally take one bowling aisle and just do one of those, but without getting everybody out here and seeing if we could phase one section at a time, it might end up costing us more money doing that. But, I mean, it'd be great if we could do that, at least start and go in. But, yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah, and I think more time for us to evaluate all of this
Right.
is better.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think, we will continue through the building and grounds to committees to reassess what's needed and how we can plan these projects in.
And kind of along the same lines as that, we left the 300,000, that's the rollover from this year if there's that extra, right? So that too is like a variable within there. I guess I'm just thinking that, that maybe is a discussion we can have and maybe mid-year on, if there's that money in there and what we can do with it and kind of that extra fund balance still. I mean, I don't want to close the door on the conversation, I just think we just don't have enough information. So I appreciate this, and I think it makes everyone feel a little more comfortable where we're headed. But at the same time, I think that we have a lot of room to have further discussions throughout the year. So,
I agree.
thanks.
Any other discussions on the budget? Then what I'd ask. Lindsay?
Similar question. I was just looking at the network marketing category, which was cut pretty significantly. What is included under that? What are we losing, I guess, under that one?
The promotions, we'll try to maintain as many of our radio spots that we have currently in the newspaper ads and so forth that we're doing. But, because it's one of our strategic plans,
Yeah.
that's why we budgeted more dollars in that area so that we could continue to increase awareness. But, we're trying to, if we can maintain at least where we were at in fiscal year '24 and continue to grow that in the future, I think that would, we'll still be okay with that
Yeah.
budget.
And that's exactly why I asked the question, is because I knew this was a really big feature of our strategic plan. And I had thoughts about, when we set budgets and, if we have the room to go higher, if there's, sort of a high-value opportunity, that I would hate for us to not take that. I don't know what a high-value opportunity would look like, but that was my one reservation on here. But if it's based on current numbers and we feel okay about that, that's fine.
Okay, if there's nothing else, then I have to have a motion for the recommendation.
I'll make a motion to move the revised budget, or to approve the revised budget.
Adjustments? Okay, Greg seconded it. Okay, we have to vote? Okay, it passed. I need to find my- Okay, so now it's new business. Do we have any new business? No new business? Any member comment? Okay, we will not go into executive session this time. So our meeting will be adjourned if I can have a motion. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? We are adjourned to the next board meeting, which is the end of this month. And don't forget, one thing